I'm Jordan Liebowitz. I directed The Barry and Rose Show.
Very funny movie.
I agree.
Yes. All right, so the first question that I like to ask everybody is what was the spark of inspiration to begin this project?
Well, I didn't write it, but I can tell you a little bit about the story of where it came from Mike Olson, one of the writers' perspectives. He came up with the idea probably about 10 years ago, but originally it was going to be like a 70s style variety show as like a weekly play that he would do at some small black box theater in Los Angeles. But it kind of took a couple different forms and eventually turned into a TV pilot. And once that TV pilot was written, I was put in touch with Mike, and the idea was that they wanted to do something to help create like a little pitch package for the TV show. And they approached me about kind of finding a little short they could make out of it with these characters, Barry and Roe, who are, loosely based on Sonny and Cher.
Hilarious.
And yeah, I mean, so from there we we sat down, we had a script, we went through a couple drafts, and eventually sat down with our theoretical cast and did a table read, and they were all awesome, so we just went from there and just kind of hit the ground running.
Very nice, very nice. What do you think was the biggest challenge to get this thing rolling and finished?
Well, for any short film, or for most short films, I think the biggest challenge is obviously budget.
Money!
Yeah, money is not easy to come by for some reason. And when you're doing a 1970s period comedy with a very, very small budget, you have to get creative. You have to find ways to, sell the period and figure out what it is that'll make the period feel like the period without, breaking the bank. We can't go and, like redo a whole street as if it's 1972.
Right.
We have to kind of create a set and find furniture and find wardrobe that'll play to the era. We'll find music that'll play to the era, and finding these little details that you can put together that will build up to that without, breaking the bank. Which, if you let yourself run away and you fall in love with a certain idea or a certain car or a certain whatever, you can very easily, get into a very big hole.
Yeah.
And we managed to do it, and we did it pretty cheaply. So I can say I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, always got to be ready to adapt to the circumstance. That's
Always.
important.
I tried really hard to be like, listen, it's a big variety show. That's kind of expensive. Maybe if this is like, 5 years later and they're kind of like burnt out, and then it's like a really crappy variety show. And they're like, no, it has to be a really good variety show. It's like, all right, okay, we'll figure this out. We'll get it to work.
I think you did okay.
Yeah. I'd say so.
If you had to pick one message that you want people to take out when they leave the theater after seeing the movie, what would that be?
Oh, big message.
Or something to think about, something controversial maybe to think about.
If I had to pick one message, please pay for our pilot. I think that would be my number one message. But if I was to say a takeaway from this is
you hear that, YouTubers?
Yeah. What was my takeaway message? I mean, it's not necessarily like a strong message piece. I haven't thought about this before. That's not true. I've totally thought about this.
Well, it's difficult to answer that question.
It's I mean, it is definitely about two people who are very much in pain, even though it's a comedy. It's a bit dark, and it's about a marriage that's kind of under fire.
And yet,
and
the harmony
it's
just amazing.
The magic and like what we worked so hard on is kind of creating this like on camera, off camera sort of back and forth, where you see them on camera, you can see that there's this instant electricity between them, and then you see the camera turns off and they're just cold to each other. And I think just the one thing that I think is really special is that you can see kind of like what is magic about this relationship between these two people, and what have they lost sight of. And while I wouldn't say that like the message is like figure out what you've lost sight of, but I think it's kind of just showing that contrast, can be, you know, a source of reflection. Be like, you know, what are those things that you take for granted, that you forget about, and what is it that, you know, makes, you know, the people you are in your life and the connections you have, what makes those so special. So, you know, maybe, you know, I hope that someone could walk away and kind of be refreshed and reminded that, like, these relationships we take advantage of in our lives are, you know, can be very special, and we can forget that.
Don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Final question. Any projects on the horizon for you?
A few. Well, if you're watching this, and you're probably on your computer, I'd say you should go to Google right now, and you can type in the words Trump of Cards.
I like it already.
So Jeff Richards, who played the lead in our short film, I made a, you know, web short with him, and we released it about a week ago, where it's Donald Trump taking a secret meeting with Frank Underwood from House of Cards. And Jeff, who is a world-class impressionist, he was on SNL for a couple of years, plays both parts.
Oh my God.
And you'll see it. There's a wonderful, ridiculous picture of Jeff with the Trump wig on, and we have like this Trump of Cards, House of Cards style logo.
It's gonna be huge.
Huge. Definitely huge.
Very good.
Well, I'd recommend checking that out. I've also got another short along with the Barry and Rose show called Hit and Run, which is also playing the festival circuit. If you find yourself, you know, browsing festivals, I'd say keep an eye out for either of those films.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get it political and say, don't vote for Trump.
No, don't do that, please.
It's bad. We don't want that.